Welcome back to the Free Forum Project. Today's financial literacy segment will focus on an organization that many people have questions about. While we might not understand exactly what the Federal Reserve does, we all feel the effects of their actions. So today, let's explore more in this video. The Federal Reserve Explained, Unveiling the Power Behind the U.S. Economy. I guarantee you've wondered what the Federal Reserve is and what they actually do. Well, you're about to find out. The Federal Reserve, often referred to as the Fed, is the central banking system of the United States. It is responsible for several crucial tasks that impact our daily lives. Firstly, the Fed controls the money supply. It has the power to print money and regulate interest rates. So when the economy needs a boost, the Fed can increase the money supply, which stimulates spending and investment. While the Federal Reserve does not physically print money, the U.S. Department of the Treasury prints notes at the instruction of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System and the 12 Federal Reserve Banks. On the other hand, when inflation becomes a concern, they can tighten the money supply to slow down economic growth. Obviously, we are in a stage of inflation, which you can learn more about in other videos on our channel. Please make sure to check those out, share, like, and subscribe. That all being said, keep in mind that the Fed, trying to control and stave off further inflation, is raising interest rates. It's not hard to see those effects for ourselves. The cost of financing has increased drastically recently, which in turn stops people from buying and spending, in turn, slowing down the economy and cooling inflation. But that is only the first part the Fed's functions. Secondly, the Fed supervises and regulates banks. They ensure that commercial banks follow rules and regulations to safeguard our money and maintain the stability of the banking system. This is important to prevent financial crises and protect consumers. While predatory lending practices can still occur, and some institutions continue to invest in risky or junk products, the Fed provides a framework to help govern financial institutions. Let's debunk a common misconception. Fun fact, the Federal Reserve does not own any gold. However, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York acts as the custodian of gold owned by account holders such as the U.S. government, foreign governments, other central banks and official international organizations. No individuals or private sector entities are permitted to store gold in the vault of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York or at any Federal Reserve Bank. Moving on to another function of the Fed. Thirdly, the Fed acts as the banker for the U.S. government. It handles the government's accounts and assists in conducting auctions of U.S. Treasury securities. By doing so, the Fed helps finance the government's operations and manage the national debt. It's important to note here that the Fed isn't actually owned by the U.S. government. They are a broker, regulator, and banking organization. By isolating the Fed from the governmental institutions, it helps separate the politics from monetary policy. Looking back at recent history, when government spending and dollar creation was through the roof, the Fed began to raise interest rates to prevent inflation. When this happened, the U.S. government continued to spend and create money. As a result, the Fed needed to continually raise rate as their actions had no effect to curb inflation, due to the actions of the government. This system is clearly imperfect but results in checks and balances for monetary policy, though it tends to create friction as governmental policy and spending often contradict the efforts and actions of the Federal Reserve. Lastly, the Fed is also responsible for promoting a stable financial system. They monitor financial markets, evaluate risks, and implement policies to safeguard against disruptions that can harm the smooth functioning of the economy. This is why their policy often contradicts that of the political machine in Washington. While politicians are pandering for votes and being irresponsible with spending, the Fed is trying to influence policy to govern the economy. So, why is the Federal Reserve so powerful? Well, its decisions and actions directly impact the cost of borrowing, employment rates, and the overall health of the U.S. economy. It's like the beating heart of our financial system. This is why it's important to have at least a basic understanding of what functions the Federal Reserve performs and how they impact the economy of our country. And that's it. You now have a better understanding of what the Federal Reserve is and what they do. The next time you hear about interest rates or monetary policy, you'll know that the Federal Reserve is behind it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative content. Be sure to share our videos and leave a comment to let us know what you think. As always, think freely. Discuss openly.